Bro, just disable voice comms if you're that worried about it, like hit the mute button. We'll talk shit to each other, and then at the end, it'll be like, all right, GG's, bro. There's a mutual respect there, and it's nothing personal. If you don't like something, change the channel. You don't have to watch this piece of content that someone's putting out. In the beginning, you're like, is this going to work? Are people going to like this? And then when you get that one piece of content that blows up, it's just like, holy shit, bro.
Hey, welcome to Table Moments, the Homies podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about anything and everything, but no politics. I'm your host and captain, Ayman. This week, we have a very special guest. He's the host we wish we had on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, asking us the questions that really matter, like the appropriate way to handle homophobic slurs on Call of Duty, fighting the good fight of political incorrectness while somehow not getting banned off these platforms, the man who can thread that needle while also reminding you how gay Fortnite is, the internet's self-appointed diversity training instructor, Tyler Hacker. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate the intro, man. That was great. It's hilarious.
I got a chance to see a lot of your content, and
cool, man.
You definitely been leaning in that like video game direction. I don't know much about Fortnite, or it's been a while since I played Call of Duty, but I can imagine like the countercultures between the two, especially considering they're like both shoot 'em up games. Do you play?
I've played a lot of Call of Duty in my day, like a lot. I think I spent 15 minutes in my entire life playing Fortnite before. I was playing with my buddies. They're like, dude, you should play, like right when it first came out. And some guy built a freaking pathway across a lake and got away from me. So I was like, fuck this game, dude. I'm over it. Like in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm done. I went back
I came here to shoot people and not construct things.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, but I was playing today, it was like my day off. We were playing Rainbow Six. So yeah, I'm an avid gamer for sure. It's fun. I've definitely been leaning more in that direction. I still try to keep it politically incorrect. And I don't, like you said, I don't know how I haven't been canceled with some of this stuff yet. So yeah. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Do you notice like the cultures are a little, because I remember back in the day playing Call of Duty, it was brutal, man. And I wonder if it's still the same where, obviously the racial slurs are probably still a thing, but I wonder if the people who play now can take a lot of the sort of slander you would expect to get back in the day.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't play as much anymore, but from what I've heard from my audience is they've kind of cracked down on what you can say. They have like an AI bot that will automatically ban you. I don't know if that's only on consoles or what's up with that, but it's never happened to me. Not that I'm going around like saying all kinds of crazy shit, but I mean, of course I'll talk shit like everyone talks shit, like, oh, fuck you, dude, whatever, And based on what I've seen on social media, I don't think this generation could handle what went on back in the day. Yeah. It was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. Really brutal.
I feel like it kind of toughened you up because it's like you've never received more hate than you did playing a game online with other people on the internet. So
yeah,
it's like the world was honestly tame by comparison. I was one of those players who just never played with the mic. So it's just like I could hear it. But even then, when I just didn't feel like it, I'd just turn off the sound and just play. Yeah, because it's like I think you have a responsibility people can expose themselves to this stuff if they want to participate. But then if you don't and it's not really your vibe, you could literally just turn off the volume. You can even just turn off the volume of the speakers and just hear the sounds. Like,
yes, I 100% agree. Like 100%. You took the words out of my mouth because there was a thing that happened on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but it was this girl playing Valorant recently and some guy said something to her. Everyone's freaking out like, oh my God, Epic Games or whatever, you guys need to do something, and everyone's just like, bro, just disable voice comms if you're that worried about it, like hit the mute button. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It just seems like all the people who are overly sensitive get to dictate how the rest of us behave. It's just, I don't know. I find it very suppressing.
I do too. Yeah. And
especially with like this social media stuff, because I mean, I feel like you pushed that line and I'm so surprised that your content actually.
I know, bro. It's the Call of Duty video that I did, the homophobic slur one, that one has almost 5 million views on TikTok. I don't know how it didn't get flagged and taken down at this point. Like, I don't know, because it's TikTok's very like, these are what you can post, and if you go outside of that line, it's like you start stepping on people's toes or whatever. And I've had it happen many times where my stuff got taken down and I lost the appeal,
Yeah, I remember like last year, like when the Andrew Tate stuff was really popping off, I made a few videos commenting on that back in February, and any mention of the guy got your video flagged. Even just by like using a code name or something, they would still flag it.
100%.
And then even Stitches got caught. Yeah. And so I eventually got a account warning on my TikTok page for like 6 months or something. It was crazy.
That's wild.
You never got one of those?
I got one of those. Yeah, I had one strike, and it was right when I got, I have a story about the Andrew Tate thing too, that I'll get to too, because it's related. But it was right when I got my account to 10,000 subscribers or followers, and I had just gotten the ability to sell products as an affiliate or whatever. I didn't know this, but copyright-free music, you can only use up to a minute worth in a promoted video. And I had the right licensing and everything. I had Epidemic Sound, and they kept taking it down, and I kept reposting it, like thinking, oh, this will work this time. This will work this time. They banned me from selling all products on TikTok. I was so pissed off. I'm still banned, and I've been like, hey, it's over 90 days. But yeah, that got me in my account flagged. But I made a video about Andrew Tate. It was when Andrew Tate catches you having fun, and it was me turning on my PlayStation. He's on his yacht or whatever, and he hears the beep, and it's like, I heard the beep from your gay station over here, you know. And I was, I cloned his voice using a cloning software, and that got taken down and flagged immediately. I tried to repost it again, taken down immediately, bro. It was wild. I lost the appeal and tried to repost it, and yeah. So Andrew Tate was like a no. Yeah, absolutely,
dude. That's such a brilliant video idea too. I wish I saw it.
It's on my Instagram. I'll have to send you the link to it or something.
Yeah,
Instagram don't care, man. Zuckerberg is like, post whatever the hell you want, man.
Yeah, I've noticed like TikTok is very fickle about the rules. Over the course of months, they'll change the rules constantly without telling anybody. Certain things are okay, certain things aren't. So we're constantly playing this like, we don't know what the rules are. We don't know what the rules are. And so I'm not a fan of that. Instagram definitely is more predictable for sure. Certain things you just can't say. But on the other hand, it's more consistent. So I don't know how you feel about one or the other. I like the variety, but at the same time, like... Yeah, Instagram does their own thing too. So
yeah, that's a good point. You know, and I've talked about this before with people, and I'll say this: TikTok is like, you get one video that blows up, and you have however many followers. I have a little over 20. I have almost 24,000. I'll get one video that gets 5 million views, one video that gets 1 million views out of 100 videos, and the other ones get 200 views. 300 views. It's just like, there's no community there. There's no sense of community on TikTok. It's just like, you got a viral video or you got nothing. You know, you got 10 million views or you got jack shit. Instagram, like you said, is very more consistent. Your followers feel like they actually matter there. You know, you could have 1 million followers on TikTok and some of your videos get like a couple hundred views. You know, I've seen that with huge creators before. Whereas Instagram, it's like, okay, I see the same people commenting. I see the same people sharing. You said it perfectly. It's consistent.
Yeah, that is the thing I noticed about Instagram too. Like, you do get to build that personal relationship with a few people who are very active in your comment section. And so you get to see them again and again. And then so that community building thing sort of, I think, is a nice balance to the whole viral phenomenon that can happen on social media. Whereas TikTok, it's just brutal. Like every video has to perform on its own. It's just like, you're not guaranteed views. Followers are not going to see your stuff. It's just like, dang.
I know, bro.
It's rough.
Yeah, the way I think about it is like, Instagram is just kind of easy. Like, things change, obviously. Like, I'm watching videos on YouTube every week, like hashtags to use, times to post. Like, I'm trying to stay relevant and make sure I give my video the best chance it can possibly have. TikTok, I feel it's like, you got to like check which direction the wind is blowing, freaking pray to the gods and be like, all right, it's 3:01 and 23 seconds and 23 milliseconds. Go, post it now. And if you don't hit that mark, your video does shit, you know?
My strategy has been, TikTok is the test platform. That's where I'll post pretty much anything. The talking head stuff, just straight into the camera, the produced stuff, the scripted stuff, all that. It's just a bunch of random stuff. By chance, sometimes one of these videos will go viral, but I don't know which ones, especially with Stitches. Sometimes it's just so random. And then obviously the value of a follower on TikTok isn't really worth that much. You're not guaranteed to show up in their feed. So, which is why I would recommend, if any content creators are watching this, at least post your videos on other platforms.
100%.
Like, it's not worth committing to TikTok, especially considering whatever this ban is supposed to be.
Oh yeah, dude. Posting to other platforms is definitely a good idea. I've seen funny things, comments and stuff like, I forgot who said it, but it was, if you like someone's video on TikTok, don't follow them because you'll never see their video again.
That's facts, actually. That's crazy how that works out. It's just like
I
hitting the
know.
follow button. Maybe they just relegate you to their, I guess, the friends feed, and so they don't actually show up in the FYP.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe
But
that's
it's,
what's happening.
yeah.
Because I use the recently I've been doing the not interested button because I've been
Oh, yeah.
seeing a lot of people just show up and I'm just like, all right, this is trash. I don't really care to see it. Which
I know.
normally it's like I'm not trying to judge anybody, but it's on the other hand, like if people are just like needlessly grifting off of something, I'm just like, all right, I don't really need to see it if they keep
I
doing
know.
it. And here's the thing about TikTok that kind of it shouldn't piss me off, but it's just how the platforms work. It's just like the dumbest things are the ones that are going to go viral.
No, I already had something in my head based on what you were saying before, but you nailed it. It's like the ones that get me the most are those family prank videos. God, I cannot stand those. It's like, oh, gee whiz, there's just a person standing in the corner filming the whole thing, and we're just supposed to pretend they're not there. Like, oh my
Right.
God, they're so
They're all
cringy.
actors.
Yeah,
They're
and they
all
get
actors.
10 million plus views sometimes. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, and then
those
I
get
wonder
me.
what it's like. Why do I even bother writing these scripts or like preparing an interesting video when something so dumb and stupid is going to get all these views? And then
I
they're
know.
going to get paid off of it too. For TikTok, it's that Kabe guy. All he does is just smile or
Oh,
like.
yeah. I know
And
who you're
I
talking
think that is the personification of how stupid TikTok can be.
about. I know. It really is. I'm in with you on that one. It's like sometimes I'll sit there writing these scripts, and then other times I'm like, bro, I could just film a video of me staring at the camera and put a funny description on it or something like that, and that'll blow up. It's
Yeah.
just totally unpredictable sometimes.
But the thing is, I've noticed even with like how algorithmic a lot of these platforms have become, there are ways outside of just being a slave to it, which I think your niche, specifically comedy, is I think the perfect vehicle for that. If it's funny and it's a broad type of funny, then people will share it with each other. And then that's when you like live beyond the algorithm. I've gotten a taste of it once. And I
Yeah.
was just like, yo, this is crazy. I wish had more ideas for comedy videos. I just don't.
It's hard, man. It's like I feel like when I started posting, I took a lot of low-hanging fruit that just came to me. It was just like that. And a lot of people connected with it. The diversity training one, like literally me, I was sitting there at my job taking one of these courses, and it was literally like, oh, Susan walks into the break room and she says, good morning. Do you A, say good morning back? B, say nice ass, Susan, or C, say fuck you, Susan. I was like, bro, these are the most common sense answers. Like, who's gonna get this wrong, bro? So it's a lot of low hanging fruit. The first few videos, it's like getting from 0 to 10,000 followers was way easier than getting from 10,000 to 20,000 followers, because you feel like you got to become 10 times more creative with everything. Whereas those first few videos were like, oh, this just plopped right into my head. Now I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta one up that one, I gotta one up this one. And yeah, comedy, man, it's fun, but I feel like I'm gonna run out of any ideas any day now.
Mhm.
And that's the constant struggle.
I think this is just the nature of pretty much any type of creative work. It's just like sometimes you can't even predict. This is sometimes just like the inspiration hits you and you're like, you know what? Oh, okay, let me just go do it real quick. Like even the money video, the $2 bill one that I posted, it went stupid viral on TikTok.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also went viral on Instagram and YouTube. And
Damn.
so,
Nice.
dude, it's crazy. But here's the
Yeah.
thing, that sheet of $2 bills was sitting next to my desk for like 2 months because I just wasn't inspired to make the video. And then
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that day came and I was just like, I have it. And so I
Yeah.
just wrote the script real quick, recorded the video, posted it, and then boom, it went stupid viral. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the nature of this creative work, man. It's hard to predict and it's hard to like channel when you need it. Some people on Instagram or even any social media platform are lucky enough to find that infinite content machine where it's like they can just do that one thing and then just consistently get views.
Yep. 100%, man.
Oh man, it's hard not being jealous about it for sure.
I know. You've probably seen his videos, but it's a guy and it's like he just sits there and it's like how people who wake up early expect you to react or something like that. And he's like, oh, what's going on? And then it's just voices talking to him. And it's like, oh man, the voice in the background will say like, oh, you're an early riser, aren't you? I'm so jealous. I bet you were listening to podcasts all the way to work. And he gets stupid views on all of them. He's got, I forgot how many followers now, but it's in the millions. And I'm like, man, infinite content glitch, just like you said, because you could do it for any niche. It's not niche specific. It's like, people who drink coffee, people who wake up early, people who play video games. It's just, it's endless.
I don't know. It's hard to find, and I can't say I've ever even got close to cracking it. But like, I even noticed there's this one guy. I think he's on TikTok too, but I saw his stuff on Instagram where all he does is just like make faces at people. He will find these viral clips of people doing some crazy stuff, or maybe dangerous stuff, or things that are really funny or stupid, and then all he'll do is just stare.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And then that's all he has to do. Yeah. And I'm just like, yo, you know what's so brilliant about it? One, he could take other people's clips that have gone viral already on their own and then incorporate it in his own thing. And because he's incorporating his own thing, he doesn't have to worry about like copyright or whatever. It's all fair use. And It's hella reproducible. And there's always content out there of people doing dumb things.
100%.
It's brilliant.
I know. It's endless. And it's like, man, I wish I would have thought of that like in 2016, whenever TikTok came out, it's like,
yeah.
Man, it was just the Wild West. Like you could live in pretty good off of TikTok if just literally just posting stitches and whatever else. I mean,
yeah. How do you feel about the direction they're going in with like TikTok Shop? I've noticed it's kind of killing the platform, at least for me.
I agree, and I am coming from a very biased standpoint because, as I mentioned, I was banned from the TikTok Shop, so I fucking hate the TikTok Shop. But I mean, not because I want to go on there and sell everyone a bunch of shit. But it's like if I see something that I'm like, oh, I could make a funny video, not necessarily like, hey guys, I got this thing, you should buy it. If I found a funny product or a product I could make funny, I might want to sell it. But I mean, in general, the TikTok Shop is just garbage half the time. It's just freaking, I see those cleaning brush ads all the time, like those electronic cleaning brush ads. I'm like, if I see another one of these fucking ads, man, I'm going to lose it. Like it totally cheapened the experience for me a lot after they started pushing that harder.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I understand on the one hand that they have to monetize the platform somehow, and also creators need to make money off of this somehow too, which is also a really tough part about all this, actually turning it into like a full-time living if you're not one of these few lucky who get consistently tons of views on every video. It's nice on the one hand because it gives people a chance to actually monetize their work, but on the other hand, like, it's excessive at this point. Because it's a payday, obviously you're going to attract a bunch of people who see it as a payday, and so you're going to get so much of this crap. Every other video is like a TikTok Shop or someone promoting something on TikTok Shop. Man, I remember how TikTok used to be. Even the algorithm and what it was feeding was better. I think the For You page has kind of like dropped off a little bit lately.
It totally has. It's at least, I mean, I don't have numbers, but I mean, it feels like every out of 5 videos, you might get 1 to 2 promoted videos or someone trying to sell a product. And some of them are creative. Some of them are funny. I'm not going to totally knock it, but some of them it's just like, oh guys, check out this new thing I found. And it's just some piece of shit product that like you could find anywhere. I mean, in my experience, and I don't want to knock on it too hard, but what I heard is YouTube is going to have something similar to the TikTok Shop, but it's going to have like Target on there, and it's going to have these pretty legitimate stores who you can sell products so you can partner with. If they do that, then TikTok's really going to have to step it up because people trust Target more than they trust TikTok Shop, At least Americans do. I mean, I don't know about globally, but that's kind of how I feel on the matter with the TikTok Shop.
I don't know. Have you ever considered having like a private like lobby or Call of Duty lobby or something that's exclusive? You know how you have all these core sellers now? Instead, you have like you have your own private lobby or something where you guys could just go ham.
That would be awesome. Charge do a premium Discord server or something like that, like $5 a month. Yeah. And you can play Call of Duty with me 3 times or whatever it is, But that's a great idea, actually. Take note of that. Send you royalty checks for every month that comes in.
No, because I've been thinking about like, all right, how do creators make this a sustainable thing? Because like, you don't get into this game if a part of you doesn't enjoy doing the work, right? Or at least making stuff, or maybe you just have things to say. And that's part of like how I kind of just stumbled into this whole podcasting thing. Maybe we can build relationships with people on the internet, And I don't know exactly how it will be useful, but I just know it will be one day. And so I'm like, all right, how can we make this sustainable in a way that lets us say the things we want to say, be who we are without having to like sell ourselves to like TikTok Shop or whatever, and then also make it a sustainable thing. So I'm like, all right, maybe if creators make their own products or services that are unique to what they do and about them, like maybe I'm thinking long term, the future might actually be something like that, where every creator has their own thing. It's not just the general here, buy my course, whatever, but more like for you do video game content, you play games. It'd be nice to have a Discord where you can free speech, let's say.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about being censored or whatever.
Yeah.
And everyone could just go ham in the comment section.
Yeah. I'm scared, but knowing my audience, I'm scared of what that would turn into. But I mean, I like the idea a lot. That's a great idea. And I think anyone that's in this similar space should look into doing something like that. Another one that I've thought of is like, I have ideas for like merchandise, obviously that's kind of like a low hanging fruit in terms of ideas, but I have a creative one. I don't want to say what it is. I'll tell you off air, but I mean, it's not totally related to my niche, but I think it would be good. It's merchandise, and it's kind of like you can implement your own version of the TikTok shop. Open up your own store, sell your own merchandise, make any video you would normally make, and then just wear that shirt in the video, and then say at the end of the video, hey, this is where I got the shirt. If you like it, click on the link. It's me. This isn't TikTok. This isn't Amazon. This is my own thing. I think people will respect that a little bit more than just, hey, I'm selling this 99-cent piece of shit on the TikTok shop. Go buy it,
I think that might actually be the future. Cause like I've been seeing like all these other bigger creators try to like release their own products or whatever, but the problem is they involve all these like other people, or maybe they just find another person's product and just repackage it or something, which doesn't leave enough margin for the creator at the end, so they end up having to charge so much for it. But like if you take a business approach to this stuff and you do make it in mind for your audience, then I think it is something that could be long-term sustainable, good for the audience and good for the creator. I think that mutual relationship can actually happen.
100%. If it were to just come out like and do a hard sell, like, hey, I designed this shirt, go buy it. There's room for that, like, hey, I'm going to be launching this, like an announcement kind of thing. But if you kind of get creative with it, and you feature whatever you're trying to sell, that's your idea in your video subtly, and then have a link at the end or something that is more of a soft sell. I think that's a better way to go. Because I mean, I've worn other people's shirts. The way I got this idea is like, I've worn other people's shirts that I thought were cool. And the comments, where do I get this shirt? Where do I get this shirt? Where do I get this shirt? And it's just like, why don't I just design my own damn shirt and sell that,
Yeah. I think it'd be really cool one day, even if you can like partner with like maybe existing games or new games that are trying to get an audience that match the kind of game and style that you enjoy. And then maybe even cool one day, like to see you as like a Call of Duty character or something.
Oh, that'd be cool, man. Yeah. Things would have to change over at Activision for the better, in my opinion. But that'd be cool, man. I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to that.
Obviously, all these platforms, they censor whatever, but I feel like your content is actually a perfect fit for Twitch. Do you ever stream on there, bro?
I have wanted to, and I feel like I should. I've streamed on Instagram. I've streamed on TikTok. And I've never streamed on Twitch. And I kind of want to, because it sounds fun. I'm like, you're just playing video games. Before I was like, oh, how do I keep them engaged? How do I keep them engaged? But now that I have somewhat of a following that I can say, hey, I'm going to go live on Twitch. I might get some people. I kind of see it as more of like a conversation with the audience, answer questions or whatever. You don't necessarily have to be like, what am I going to say 24/7? You react, talk to the audience, but I'm not a professional live streamer. So, I mean, I would love to, though. It's a great idea. I definitely want to.
The people on Twitch, they're definitely a lot of trolls there for sure. And I actually have a soft spot in my heart for trolls because I understand where they're coming from too. There's all these old rules of the internet where it's just like, you kind of have to be tough. You have to have tough skin. It's like it's a test. They're testing you when people come in the comment section, or they're trolling you in the chat or whatever. They're seeing if you can take it, and the whole game is like you can dish it out just as much as they do. And so once you do, then they respect you, and then now you guys become friends. So like 100%. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar with just shit talking in gaming in general. I've been playing PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. For people that might not be familiar with PUBG, but I've been playing that recently, and it has open microphone the whole game except for the lobby, which it used to have, and that was insane. Because if you think of that today, that was 8 years ago. It had 100 people crammed into the plane, all with open microphones, and the memes that sprouted from that were insane. I mean, you name it, it was said. And there's no report option. There's no scoreboard. Like, oh, this guy said that, I'm going to go report him. There's 100 people on a plane. You can't see their name, like crazy. But yeah, PUBG has open microphones when you die, and you can talk shit after someone kills you. So, I'll say shit to people sometimes, and they'll be like, oh, only guys with small dicks loot me or something like that. And they'll be like, well, yeah, I bet you like it or something like that. And then we'll talk shit to each other. And then at the end, it'll be like, all right, GG's, bro. And, there's a there's a mutual respect there, because it's like they do the same exact shit, and it's nothing personal, so it's awesome.
There's a code of honor that comes with all this stuff.
It totally is.
Maybe that's a funny video idea where you guys maybe you have two characters who are just yelling all these slurs and profanity or whatever at each other, and then finally they both die or whatever. It's like, all right, good game, bro.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a great one. I could definitely work with something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people watching from the outside looking in might not realize that that's what's actually happening. This is how guys communicate, especially like if it's male dominated. Yeah, we do crap on each other all the time. We insult each other. We're really mean, but it's not serious.
Exactly.
But like those censors don't get it. So they just see hate. And so everything's hate speech. And then it's just like, we can't be free.
I know, come on. I 100% agree. And I forgot. I think her name was Taylor Morgan that I was talking about earlier. It was on Twitter, but she was playing Valorant, I think on Twitch. And some Australian guy, he sounded like he was a teenager, maybe 20 years old, was saying that he was going to her on the game. He wasn't even saying it, like he was suggesting it. Like it was very suggestive. And she posted something and it went viral on Twitter saying like, oh my God, we need to take this out of the game. And there's a lot of people. It blew up on Twitter. It was like, oh, we need to censor. We need to take this out of the game. This shouldn't exist. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, was he wrong for saying that? Sure. But I mean, was he really going to do that? No, he's talking shit. It's banter. And if you can't handle that, then you need to hit the mute button or you need to disable comms entirely, So yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure.
I wonder what the long-term effect of all this is going to be. Because, back in the day, I feel like it was more brutal. They just didn't build the tech to be able to censor people. They didn't have AI that could read or turn every voice into a text transcript that can be screened and all that stuff. Like, I deal with this on TikTok, too. I guess people in the comments sometimes like to put offensive stuff or whatever, and then it'll automatically get blocked. So they're like, oh, did you see my comment? I was like, no, I didn't. I honestly didn't see it.
I know.
And so it's like, it makes it harder to connect with. Yeah, I get it. Some people are mean. Some people can make fun of you. It is what it is. Especially like us, we put ourselves out here. So I feel like if you're willingly putting yourself out here, you're signing up for this game. You're signing up for people to criticize you. This is what comes with not celebrity. I wouldn't call myself a celebrity, but I mean, that's what happens when you put yourself out there in front of millions of people, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of people are not going to like what you do. I started posting on YouTube again recently, and I think that's what started this podcast idea. I said something like, man, I posted on YouTube too. And you said, let's come talk about it. But I started posting there again recently. And the first video that I put back up after not posting for a few months, the first comment said something, and I forgot what he was talking. He was talking about the music. He's like, I hate how all these songs I used to grow up with are slowed down now. And then he said, oh, by the way, your video blows or something like that. And I'm like, bro, if you can't handle shit like that, then yeah, the internet is probably not the place for you. It's part of the package, or at least putting yourself out there publicly.
People who aren't familiar with this don't understand, you're going to get a lot of negative comments. Probably those are probably going to be the first comments you get are negative comments before you find the people who really mess with your stuff. And the thing that motivates people to leave those negative comments is a lot stronger than people saying, yeah, this is great, this is awesome, whatever. There are people who do that, but it's a very, very small percentage. And that's why it's easy to ignore the likes and the hearts, but pay attention to that one negative comment that was in there. And so it's just 100%. Part of this game is fortifying your mind into understanding that you shouldn't take that one comment personally. They're going to be haters no matter what.
100%. I'm pretty good about not taking the bait most of the time. I mean, sometimes I'll let it get to me, but you really have to, like you said, you have to have thick skin, which most of the time I do. But I mean, sometimes if I'm tired, it's been a long day, I'll go in there and say something sarcastic back to them, and I try not to it's pretty rare, but sometimes I my emotions get the best of me in that situation. But you really have to kill them with kindness. As cliche and cheesy as that sounds, you just say, you know, like, I appreciate the comment. Sorry you didn't like the video, something like that. And they usually will reply with something like, oh, they'll be remorseful a little bit, you know, and it's cliche and cheesy, but it works, you know.
Like that's the approach I've been taking lately, but back in the day, man, I actually really enjoyed the hateful comments because that was just an opportunity for me to clap back and also make the comment section more interesting than the actual video because my videos aren't like tailored to be funny, but I can definitely be funny in the comment section, especially at the expense of someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I also had this rule of like, I will like or heart any comment I see as a thank you for the engagement. So even the haters get a like, and then I'll be the only person who liked their comment. Yeah. It's just like, you got to live with this shame, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome though, bro. I mean, it's good. It's a good way to get engagement and play it off. It's not a big deal. It's just a comment, you know, and your work will speak for itself. You know, if people are liking your video, they're liking your content, and most of your comments are positive, then typically the minority that are going to say something really bad. But like you said, it's very easy to focus on that one comment that's negative. Yeah, it's very easy. But what I was going to say is, like, I think that's why some certain content will perform, like controversial content will perform really well because everyone has an opinion, you know. If you post something controversial, you're going to offend 50% of people on this side, 50% of people on that side. And someone's going to have to leave their opinion on that comment or on that video, you know?
And sometimes like when you put a piece of content out there, you don't intend it to be one way, but they'll see it that way. And those ones can get really confusing because it's just like, it's only you who missed it, you know, like everyone else got it in the comments or they got it so you see it in the likes or whatever, but that one person read it wrong or whatever they went through in their life made them see it this certain way. And it's just like, oftentimes it's complete opposite of what you were saying or whatever. And they completely miss it. It's just like, how do you handle that?
It's funny that you say that. This is directly related to a video I just posted like 2 weeks ago. So the roast of Tom Brady, I don't know if you watched it, but yeah, it was hilarious. And there was a lot of stuff in there that comedy hasn't seen in a while, like just a lot of racial jokes, a lot of gay jokes and that kind of thing. And not bad. They were jokes, you know, and I put a video out saying, the roast of Tom Brady was homophobic. Plot of the video was saying, I basically said, I'm here to put out a warning that if you think joking about racism, homophobia, transphobia, or if you think those things are something to joke about, then you should absolutely go watch this video or you should absolutely go watch this roast because it was hilarious. Most of the comments were saying, it's just jokes, bro. Get over it. It's jokes. It's jokes. I'm like, bro, you clearly didn't watch the whole video. All you had to do was watch the whole video, and you would have known that I was telling you to go watch it, you know?
Man, people are weird. That's the one thing I've learned so much about people just doing this social media stuff, man. I'm just like, wow, there are some strange people out there. There are some really cool people out there. And then also how populations of people can behave sometimes, especially like the tendency for people to cancel people. Like I flirted a little bit with that line, a little bit, at least on the receiving end of this stuff. But how do you feel about cancellations?
I think they're like with the whole like cancel culture and we're going to cancel you, to get to the root of what it is, in my opinion, is this person said this. We need to make sure their livelihood has been affected by this and that they can't work again in this field that they're a part of. You know, that's kind of like a big chunk of what cancel culture is. This person's a homophobe. This person's a racist. We need to make sure they never work again, which is very weird to me because why? I mean, they have a living doing this. They have a history of saying outlandish things. If you don't like something, change the channel, you know, like you don't have to watch this piece of content that someone's putting out. I mean, if they say something like, I'm not going to say something that bad. If they say something, someone's going to clip it and be like, oh my God, look at what he said on this podcast. You know, like if they say something totally outlandish and they mean it, sure, I guess. But cancel culture in general, I think is just stupid, you know, and it goes on both sides of the aisle in terms of just the way people think. I think people have a right to earn a living pretty much with freedom of speech. You know, if you say something that a lot of people don't agree with, whoop-de-doo. They don't agree with it. You could be offended. I'm just going to keep scrolling if I don't agree with something, It's my kind of 2 cents on cancel culture, I guess.
I have a pretty radical take on cancel culture because I've noticed like people get canceled sometimes for the dumbest reasons, or like they'll take this. It's not even the worst thing they've said. It's something that they've said that was taken out of context, clipped up to sound as bad as possible. And then that's what they get canceled for. An example of this would be the Papa John's guy who got canceled for.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but it's actually hilarious. He was trying to be sensitive about the whole issue, and he was giving examples in this conversation, and then it was clipped up. Or at least it was people who were part of that meeting ended up just taking him out of context and then publishing it. But that was never his intent, at least.
Yeah.
But, the truth never comes out. So,
of course.
So my position is I'm thinking maybe it might be inevitable. It might be 10 years, it might be 20 years, but at some point that will happen. So my position on this stuff is like, if I'm going to get canceled, I want to be canceled on my terms.
Yeah.
I want to know that it's coming. And so like with every video, I know there's a possibility it gets taken out of context or whatever. And then I also believe this is, I don't know if it's true, but I like to think it's true. If you get canceled once, you can't get canceled again.
Oh, yeah. I watched one of your videos today or yesterday where you said, once you get canceled, you can't get canceled again. Yeah, I would agree with that. The only way, if you got canceled for something and then you come back, so many people have done it that have been canceled, quote unquote, and they're still working. They still have a job. It would be stupid. You would never do it. But the only way you could get canceled again is if you came out and said, like, you're a freaking, like, look at Kanye West is a good example. He was on, I think, Alex Jones or something like that, where he said he likes, I don't want to even say his name because I don't know with podcast censorship, social media censorship, but a guy in Germany in the 40s, use your imagination. There's that pretty limited description there. He said he likes him. Kanye West is still a freaking billionaire putting out CDs that everyone loves, and the memes that are going around that are like, Kanye has only got 50,000 more chances with me or something like that, like he's uncancelable. Like you said, you can't get canceled twice. But my point I was going to get to is like you have to say something outlandish, but I guess not, because Kanye West has said plenty things that are outlandish, and he's still making millions. So
I'm not saying it's not going to be painful for sure. The cancellation is painful, but you only got to experience the pain once, and plus you get to know who your friends are. So, or at least your fans too. So the people who stick around, they're about you. It's an expensive price to pay, but at least now. So
yeah. Exactly. The way I kind of look at that thing, I heard someone say it on a podcast or something, but if you post something and you lose followers, like if you lose a lot of followers, by say something that could get you canceled, I think that, I don't remember the direct quote was, but I think it was along the lines of those people weren't going to buy a shirt anyways. It was like talking about music, I think, like a band. And it's a good point, because if they're going to leave you over something anyways, like, who cares? Bye. There's plenty of other people out there that you're going to attract. For every person you lose, you're probably going to gain more.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually do that. This is part of my strategy. Every month or two, I post a piece of content that I know is going to trigger a bunch of people on purpose to make them hit that unfollow button. Yeah. But weirdly enough, I did that. I posted on Instagram thinking like, all right, because like the rise up on Instagram for me all happened within the last few months. It's just a series of videos that happen to do well. And I was like, all right, there's a bunch of people here who haven't done the work of actually scrolling down to see what the rest of the content and my personalities actually look like. So they probably have a false impression of me. Let me show you who I really am. And so I posted this video hoping I could push a bunch of people away. With Instagram, for whatever reason, only 10% of your following will actually see your content, right? Because it's controversy, like you said, it tends to do well. And so actually a majority of the people who saw the video were non-followers. So I ended up gaining more in net.
That's awesome.
I'm just like, what the? It's crazy how it works out, man.
I know. Some of the things I see in the world, just as crazy as things are, sometimes it's one of those days where I'm like, fuck, I'm going to post this. And it's just like 50% of people are going to agree with it. 50% of them aren't going to agree with it, and I don't do it, but I'm getting close where I'm like, especially on TikTok, just go on there and say, you know what, this bitch is going to get banned in a couple months anyways. Fuck it. Let's go down with a blast,
Yeah. I don't know. And then, like with every platform, it's different too. And so it's like what can work on one platform or what you can get away with on one platform isn't necessarily what you can get away with on another one. And then also this whole shadow banning thing. I've seen people say, shadow banning isn't real. Your content just sucks. I'm like, you make safe content. That's why you can say that. It's like,
Yeah, that's
if
true.
you really push the boundaries, you definitely get to see it. And I've seen it happen to people on Instagram specifically. Like when I collaborate, especially with these podcast episodes. Last episode was a gun guy who does gun content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he is for sure shadow banned on Instagram, like, because I'll add
Yeah.
him as a collaborator on the thing and it gets no views. And then if it's just me, then it's like, all right, it can actually like reach a higher level. I'm just like, wow, this game is so rigged. So rigged.
Yeah. I've posted a collaboration with one of my friends, Steven. Shout out Steven Sanchez. I think it's Steven Roams on Instagram, but I posted a video. We went out shooting in the desert and I made a video. I had my camera. I made a video just of him shooting. I can't remember the engagement on that one, but he says his videos get taken down or flagged all the time when it has a gun in them. And it's like, it's not even controversial. It's just a gun. Like he's shooting. He's not like doing anything controversial with it. He's just target practicing half the time. So yeah, your niche absolutely has the potential to become shadow banned if it's borderline controversial, comedy, controversy, political, anything that's pushing the boundaries. If you're just playing, like if you're doing Minecraft tips and tricks, it's pretty safe. Like nobody's I don't think you have to worry about getting shadow banned.
So when you started this whole social media stuff, did you plan on going in the comedy direction? Was that always part of the
No, actually I was doing music originally, and like instrumental guitar, like heavy metal guitar playthroughs and stuff like that. I started on YouTube in 2007, posting covers and stuff like that. And I would work hard on them, and they just weren't getting that much traction. And not all of them were covers. A lot of it was original, which looking back on it, it's like, yeah, of course they didn't get that much attention. It was original content. Like nobody's interested in that. They want to see you play Stairway to Heaven or whatever, like you have to leverage authority with music. You really have to leverage authority with music, because unless you're an insanely good original artist, it's kind of hard to get out there with original music. But then I was like, I've always liked making people laugh. So I'm like, let's do comedy. I had no idea what I was doing with it. I originally started stitching other people's videos on TikTok, and looking back at them, they're so bad. I'm like, fuck, I got to go through and delete these, but I leave them up. I'm like, it's a reminder of where I've come. Nobody's amazing when they first start out. But so what I did was I posted a video on YouTube. Other people have done this, where it was basically like, it was a wrestling match and the chick goes up to another chick and she like shoves her butt in her face or whatever. And then I stitched it, like I was there, like laying on the tarp, whatever, like waiting for her to come do it to me, and it got a good amount of views. And I was like, this stupid video that took me 10 seconds to make got significantly more views than my music. So after that, I was like, fuck it, let's try comedy,
It is shocking to me sometimes how people, the things that will do well. And then I've started realizing, like, because of the way these algorithms work, they're all recommendation engines. There's all these metrics that have to be hit in order for it to get to a certain threshold or reach or whatever. Like Mr. Beast talks about it on the YouTube thing. Like it has to have over 70% retention, and like the like ratio's got to be whatever and stuff like that, which naturally means the majority decides what content will actually pop off. So you essentially have to go through the masses to find your people, which sucks. How do you thread that line? You got to find that Venn diagram between like who you are and the people that resonate with you and the masses, and then finding that overlap. And if you can find that overlap, then that's when you have a chance of like getting that spread, that reach, but also attracting the right people. And
Exactly.
that's a hard thing to thread sometimes.
It totally is. Yeah, it's what I've noticed is the content that does best for me, at least on Instagram or probably TikTok too, but is making highly shareable content that people can, like you said, it kind of connects all the web of who you are, who your audience is, and what they can relate to. If you put out a highly relatable piece of content that gets shared, the chances of it becoming viral piece of content or a more successful, you get a good amount of traction on it, is significantly higher. And so I've kind of shifted my strategy with that. Like the videos that I noticed that pop off, it's low hanging fruit, and I don't always want to do them. I still want to do the long skits, but the ones that I noticed, they're stupidly low hanging fruit. It's like the one that I did it got almost 1 million views, and it took me 5 minutes to make. It was like, the person that sent this to you wanted you to know a couple of things. I forgot what the video was, but it was like, they have a 10-inch penis and you're gay or something like that. And it got 1 million views or something like that. After that, I was like, bro, I spend so much time on all these other videos, and made this one piece of content that was super easy and it blew up, because it was highly relatable. People like talking shit to their friends,
Yeah, that's the tough thing about this whole creative space. Like, you can put your heart and soul effort into a piece of content because, I don't know, it speaks to you or you have something important to say or whatever. 0 views. And then you do something dumb that's no effort and there's just like a million views. Like, what is wrong with people, man?
I know, man. It's 100% accurate.
I don't know if people who don't make content can appreciate that kind of life where it's just like, it's like the ROI on this stuff. You don't do it for ROI. It's hard to calculate sometimes unless you get one of those content glitches where it's going to print.
Absolutely.
So it's just tough. It's a tough thing.
It totally is, man. Even with like a video that you think is going to perform well, you could post it, and if the stars aren't aligned, it could flop. It's happened many times where I had a piece of content go viral over here on TikTok. It's gone viral over here on Instagram. The Call of Duty homophobic slur video has gone viral every time I posted it. Then you post it on YouTube and it's a flop. It's really hard to predict. Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, when a video performs well on one platform, it's probably a good sign that it should perform well on other platforms, but it doesn't necessarily do that, which means there is some sort of like other factor here. Cause like the content does perform. If it performs on one platform, then it does have a good hook. It does have good retention. It does speak to people in a deeper way, or maybe it has this shareability factor about it, which means then it should translate to the other platforms. But there's always that little, like you were mentioning, maybe you just didn't post it at the right time, or the cohort of people it tested with were not the right people. So it kills it from the beginning. And so this is the problem, I think, with this whole like recommendation engine thing, where the follower count used to mean something, where it's just like, all right, when they subbed, it's because they wanted to see more of that. But I don't know, like, these platforms are like, you know what? Our computers can decide what you prefer better than you can. So now you get algorithmic stuff, and it's just like, where's the humanity in it all,
Yeah, it's so true. And the way I kind of look at that is like, all right, this person followed you, or you followed this person. That person, the next time they fire up their app, unless they're following 10,000 freaking people, and obviously everyone that you follow is not going to post a piece of content on that day or at that exact time that you're on your app. They should see, I think at the bare minimum, they should see that piece of content that you posted if they're on that app at the time that you posted it, which seems like that's like an outlandish thing to say in 2024. This person literally followed you. They're telling Instagram, I want to see this person's content, and they're not going to show it to them. That's wild to me. That's absolutely crazy.
I think TikTok ruined the game because of that. Because I hear old stories of like how Instagram used to be, whatever. Now it's like only 10% of them will actually see the content. YouTube, it's like, I still haven't cracked YouTube. I've gotten a little bit of success, but even then it's just like, it's still a black box to me.
It is.
And then TikTok, weirdly enough with TikTok, like some of my older videos from like a year ago will end up doing numbers. I'm noticing like, because I don't have a good visual hook. It's always just the audio stuff. Not to just completely shit on TikTok. The one thing they have going for itself is that it continues to test your content, at least in the longer term. So eventually, once it catches the right people to send it to, then it will start doing numbers later on. And I've had a few of those happen to me where it didn't do anything when I first posted it. 6 months after, nothing. A year later, then crosses 1 million. It's just like, I couldn't have called it, but it just works out that way.
Yeah, I've had similar situations where a video I posted forever ago will randomly start, like I'll open my app and it'll be like 99 plus followers. I'll be like, what? Like what blew up? And you go in there and it's like, oh, that's the one. Okay. And you're like, all right, I didn't expect that to happen, but cool.
Right now that's happening for one of my older videos about Disney princesses. It's just like, this stuff, man, this game is so weird. There's a lot of things I didn't expect when it came to the social media stuff. Cause like I wasn't a social media guy. I only got into social media because I started this podcast with my siblings. And it's like, all right, how do we grow a podcast? The only logical way I could figure out was social media. So it's just like, all right, I kind of have to learn this now, even though I've never used this stuff before. So it's just been a slow grind, man. It's just learning a lot about people. And then now it's like you get into this because like even when I talked with my fiance, it's just like, hey, do you think this would be a good content idea? Do you think this would work? And
I do the same thing, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just like, everything can be content now. It's just like I can see how it could be annoying to the people around me, but I don't know. It's kind of consuming me at this point.
Same, bro. I mean, my fiance, same thing, and she's kind of used to it now. But she will make fun of me, like, "Oh, that's a video idea," or like she's like, "Oh, that's going to be a video idea now. That's going to be in a video now." But she's pretty creative with certain things. Like it was her idea to add the "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" music. That was her idea. And that's part of one of the reasons why those videos blew up, because I was just going to put some whatever music in there. And she's like, that music doesn't work. I was like, well, what should I add, genius? And being like a smart ass. And she's like, I don't know, try the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire track, and that shit blew up, man. That was like, holy shit, you were 100% right. She doesn't post as much as I do. She does nails, and she posts on there like what she does with her nails and all that stuff, trying to grow that. But just because of the content that I post, like she kind of, she understands. It's hard to explain, but yeah, she gets it, like she doesn't post, but she's there in support and kind of understands the game. She might bug her, but she gets it.
Yeah, that's nice to have when someone in your life at least gets it. Like the whole this because this game is different than most. Like it's no 9 to 5. There's no consistency here, especially when it comes to like creative work. You're putting a piece of yourself out there, especially like when it's something that you came up with in your own brain and trying to present it to the world, and having someone else who also understands what it's like to share things publicly with people, I think is nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this stuff can be kind of isolating sometimes. Like when I hang out with like friends or whatever, even like when I meet strangers, I don't even mention this whole social media stuff. I'm just like, I don't know. It just feels really cringy if like, oh yeah, I do social media or whatever. It's just
it totally does. Yeah, it totally does. It's like, you tell people that you do TikTok or Instagram, and it just it doesn't sound like they have a stigma. They have a picture painted in their head of what that means. They don't get it, and it feels so good when you have some bit of success with a video or with whatever. You just have a bit of success, because then it's like, fuck you. I did it, man. Look at this. And it's like, it fit, that part of it felt really good, because in the beginning you're like, is this going to work? Are people going to like this? It's the beginning is just like, you have no idea what's going to go on. And then when you get that one piece of content that blows up, it's just like, holy shit, bro. It's like, you won the lottery, man. It's just, and you've had it happen, I'm sure, plenty of times. You catch a wave where it's just like, you open your app, 99 followers, and you clear it an hour later, another 99. And it's just like, whoa, maybe we can actually do this shit, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Like, it does take a certain type of person. I don't know if like people are made for this or not, but it does take a level of courage to like go put yourself out there and then not get success for a really long time, because that's just the nature of how this stuff. Because like you said earlier, the stuff you made in the beginning, not nearly as good as what you can make now. And I'm the same way. It's just, it's hard to watch the old stuff.
I know,
but you got to go through it. And so it's just like, can you stick with it long enough to get that one lick that just like validates it all, Mm-hmm. And that's the nature of this stuff, because like 99% of it won't work, but that 1% makes all the difference. And I can say that truly about the over 1,000 videos I've posted. Like, it's only a handful that have done stupid numbers, but that's the reason why the following's at where it's at.
Exactly. 95% of your followers will come from 5% of your videos, is what I hear on all social media. So you're 100% right. A handful of videos out of 100 will perform well. It's true. I mean, it's cliche, but like for people that are interested in starting, you literally do just have to start. Like, as cliche as that sounds, you have to suck. You really do have to suck. Like, the skills and the creativity, it's like a muscle. It's like you train your bicep, you train your legs. They get bigger, they get stronger the more that you do it, Your creative muscle gets better the more that you use it. It's just like anything else that I've noticed. And it gets harder in terms, like I was saying earlier, where you feel like you have to one up each video, like every video has to be better than the last one. And so it does get hard, but you develop the skills along the way, and you're not going to get to that point unless you start.
And then once you do it long enough, you get to a point where it's like, it becomes easier to make content. Then you start thinking about how to make it better. And so I think this is where then you can really exercise and then you start noticing a lot of things about the world, which is where I derive a lot of my inspiration from, like things that I run into, you start seeing the world a little differently, actually, because of doing all this stuff. Not only because of the people you interact with online, but also observing all the opportunities that you can comment on that maybe you didn't even consider before. And so it's just like, there is a process of your brain getting rewired by doing this stuff. And
100%. Yep.
And it's crazy to go through. And I can't say if I would recommend this or not, but if you do feel like making content, or if you have things that you feel like need to be said or always wanted to say something, then I think it is worth exploring. And you kind of have to go through this tough period of like putting yourself out there and not getting any reception.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
It's brutal.
It is brutal. I liked something you said too about like rewiring your brain, and like looking for opportunities on things you can comment on and whatnot. And that's so true, because after I started posting, I started looking at everything differently. I started looking at like everything as an opportunity, as a way to get that next nugget of content. Everything was an opportunity. I'm going to go on a trip to Texas, like where we first met. I looked at that as like, maybe I'll see something there, would trigger something in my subconscious even. Like you might see something, you might experience something that allows you to create that next piece of content or next 10 pieces of content. Everything is an opportunity. I don't necessarily go out of my way to extract content out of every little situation in life, but my brain is open to that now.
Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it does allow you to observe the world, or at least appreciate the world a little more, because there's so much you can get out of it that maybe in the past you just glossed over. And so you do notice the world a little better. Which is a weird byproduct of all this, which I know there's a lot of criticisms you could say about social media, but on the other side of this, making content, you get to see the world a little better. For the good and the bad, I would say.
Absolutely.
I don't want to take any more of your time. This is your chance. Feel free to let the people know what you got going on.
Right on, man. So yeah, go ahead and follow me, Tyler Hacker Jokes, on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on YouTube too, but it's kind of an afterthought. I do post there though, and you can just look me up, Tyler Hacker, on YouTube. More skits coming out every day. I appreciate you having me here. This has been a lot of fun. If you ever want to do it again, I'm open. This has been a blast. That's everything I got, man.